AI, tech trends.
Mhm.
Anything changing, anything coming or already here that maybe an agent hasn't closed many loans this year or somebody hadn't bought in the last 2 years or anything AI related that's coming down the pipe?
There's a huge influx of AI into our business, both for good and for evil. The bad guys are out there using it to try to steal, as they always do. I had a agent 2 weeks ago now send over a question. Hey, I talked to this person and they want me to come and list their property and they live in such and such. I can't meet them personally. And then all the red flags are going up in my head. This is everything that's on the list. So then the agent receives from that person an ID. Well, we get a copy of the ID and we run it through some validation tools that we've got that are somewhat AI driven. And sure enough, everything is bogus. The signature looks like it's kind of a signature, but it actually turns out to be this particular font. And the AI evaluates and points out that the letter here is identical to the letter there. There's no deviation in this letter R and that letter R. And humans just don't write that way. It also picks up and points out that
That's pretty cool.
The ID itself indicates that the person's eye color is brown, but the photo, it's clearly blue. And, it just all sorts of things that you, at first glance, you're not going to pick that up, but the AI does. It turns out, from what we've been told, when we push our ID validation tool, it can even go and determine whether the coding, if it's actually a physical ID that a photo has been made of, whether the coding is actually proper for the state. Turns out there's only a few different coatings, they call them Mylars, that wrap the IDs, and they're only used in certain states. So even if they've gotten a fake ID that meets all the boxes and it didn't have the particular coding, it's going to flag it, and I'm not going to be able to see that physically.
Wow. So that makes me, I've always been a little concerned as a salesperson that AI could replace us because so much that we do, other than the relationships and trying to bring in business, that's the only reason I think we're safe. But if you look at a processor or an underwriter, you're talking about a bank statement that they're supposed to review and catch fraud or whatever. That's easily scannable now.
Yeah.
I'm surprised, and maybe we do have these, and I just don't know they're in the background, where they're scanning bank statements for fraud and for deposits and for everything. That's pretty.
And there's other impacts on our business with AI on the other components of it, both title insurance, examining title, not so much in that phase of it yet, but taking the abstract that we receive from a title searcher and reviewing that. Some of the tools are coming into that and reviewing contracts and looking for creating a to-do list, basically a task list of things that need to be done in order to bring the thing forward to closing.
Okay. Well, you have a couple more minutes? I've got a couple good questions I really want to get to.
I still got 2. We got time.
All right. Let's talk about if you were a realtor, you changed careers and you're now a real estate agent.
Okay.
What's one thing that you would never do? So something that could be anywhere during the process. Doesn't have to be closing related, but you see it all from marketing to contracts to everything. And the same question for a lender. If you were to become a lender, I'll even throw it to if you were to buy a home. If you were to buy a home and you weren't, what is one thing you would never do? We know that you would never buy a home without a home inspection, so that one's too easy.
So, as a home buyer, I would never talk to just one lender because I would want...
Cut.
No, seriously, because a lot of people don't know or understand when you send out your loan estimate that that's an offer to lend, right?
Right.
And so they're not into reading those numbers. They're going to look at the nominal interest rate and go, oh, I'm at 5. Well, yeah, you're at 5, but you paid 10 basis points to get there.
Right.
And so, education and all this is key. That's part of your job. It's part of my job. It's a huge part of the realtor's job because they're kind of the ringmaster for the thing that we do. You've got one of the rings, I've got one of the rings, and the agent is the one that's bringing the people to the circus, so to speak. So if I were the person bringing the folks to the circus, I would want to make sure that my customers were completely informed about the process.
So how do we convey that? So here's, and this is probably the reason that I would say no, but yet I still agree with you 100%. I would say no because I would not encourage somebody to shop rate and just call until you get the best rate.
Mm-hmm.
But you definitely need to have that conversation because of, online lenders are going to send you an estimate and it doesn't have any of the local fees on it.
No.
It's just got their 2 fees and they're like, oh, well, we don't have an origination. And then you think, oh, well, he's $2,000 less. Well, it's like, well, they didn't put attorney fees or title insurance. Or
right.
anything.
They didn't know what they were doing in the
So
area.
how can a real estate agent convey, hey, I want you to talk to 2 lenders, but we're not doing it we're not just shopping these people to death to see if we can save 5 pennies. Because then you're going to end up with somebody that's unscrupulous.
I can tell you as a closing lawyer, I would avoid folks without a local presence like the plague.
Yeah.
Because doing what I do, when there's just nobody and it's the next person in the service center who takes the call in the queue and has to read all the notes on your file, you've got no relationship, you've got nothing. And so having the relationship to me is key.
And they're not going to fight for it as well. And this is shame on me, but I cut my teeth at Wachovia at the call center. Mm-hmm. They sent me to the call center. It got really busy. And I just answered the phone. So the brand new people are who they put in the call center. Mm-hmm. And I got paid a small salary during that time period. Right. And I was blowing loans up left and right. I didn't know you had to be 2 years bankruptcy. Like I was learning. I'd be focused over here and I'd forget to look over there.
Right.
And not only did I make lots of mistakes, I also didn't fight for those loans either.
Right.
Because there was no consequence.
Well, it was probably not the culture at the bank that you were at.
Right.
As opposed, because you got a salary, I'm guessing. You might have had some incentives with it, but you had the salary no matter what.
Right.
And so in my experience, the folks with incentives to do a good job, to help their clients understand the process, to understand how to organize their finances, not manipulate. Manipulate's the wrong word, but to understand what the qualifications are going to be. Like, there's a host of folks out there in the world that are in businesses where they own their own business, and so they tend to charge things off. They don't necessarily get a W-2 salary, but that W-2, even if you're a contractor, let's say you're working in the electrical business, if you are going to be doing this, you need to be planning for that and get that W-2 in so that it makes your job easier. Yeah. You're still getting paid the same thing. You know it, I know it, but smoke and mirrors that people play. And so I think the relationships are key with agents. I think the relationships are key with lenders, because having someone that's experienced that you can trust is the best defense against all the problems that are out there.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Especially if they come to the closing and sit at the table with you, then they can get on the phone and rectify things.
Yeah, and maybe ringmaster was a bad analogy. Maybe shepherd is a better analogy for the job of a realtor.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, one last real estate question, then we'll have one more fun topic. So,
okay, I like fun
closing table etiquette.
Yeah.
What should everyone be doing in the closing room? What should they not? Any interesting traditions or closing gifts that were really cool, or anything that you could just pass along?
Read the room. That's the biggest thing, is read the room. Pay attention to the buyer and the seller. Is this their first closing? Are they scared to death? Are they trying to listen to my words to actually get an understanding? Or is this old hat? Is this something they've done and they just want to get through the process? Cool. But be respectful of the needs of the parties to the transaction is the biggest thing. Above that, or beyond that though, enjoy it. A closing ceremony is really a time to celebrate. And so be mindful that closing gifts are entirely appropriate, within the confines of the ethical rules that we all follow, because it is a time to celebrate.
Well, I love what you started with reading the room, because I have been, for me and the real estate agents, we've been there 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
But I have sat in closings where I could tell there was either tension or just lack of knowledge or comfort, where they were, you said it perfectly, they were really trying to listen to the attorney.
Right.
They were trying to listen to the words they were saying, and everyone around them was just having a good old time and talking. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
Right, but there were, if I noticed it, and I'm probably one of the worst ones with sitting and talking, then you got to make sure that you know that your buyer, are you being a disruption at the closing?
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, last one.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. I meant to lead with this, and I didn't.
Okay.
Boy Scouts is my passion right now.
Absolutely.
I can't explain it.
Now, were you a scout as a kid?
I was not.
I was not a scout as a kid.
Really?
No, my older brother was in Cubs for maybe 1 year.
Same thing. Both my brothers got to do Cub Scouts 1 or 2 years, and by the time I got old enough, my mom was tired of it. It was like,
yeah. So the difference between those days and the days when my kids came through, it was the 70s, and Cubs was thought of, at least I think, in the scout world as lower, maybe, or a precursor to the real deal. And so it was run by den mothers, and God bless them. But by the time I came along, I came home one night from work, and my wife says to me, and she hands me this paper, "Hey, go up to the school, so-and-so down the street has been talking to Alex, and he wants to check out Cub Scouts." And I was like, "Oh man, Scouts, really?" And what's funny is that my best bud in junior high days, he was a scout and tried to get me to go, and I had the prejudice, the preconceived notion from my parents going through just for the 1 year with my bro. Anyway, so I go and sit down at the table at Spring Hill Elementary, and I look up, and walking over in a scout uniform is a buddy, a guy named Chris Tyberski, and he and his wife were friends of ours. My wife was a school teacher, and so his wife had taught with her. And so I look up, and I said, "Hey, Chris, what are you doing here?" She says, "I'm trying to recruit you into working in Scouts. That's what I'm doing here." And so I'm like, let me see. So we're filling out the papers and such. And then there's the dynamite pitch, right? Well, if nobody signs up to be the Tiger Cub den leader, there's not going to be a Tiger Cub den. So you two need to figure out, or you five need to figure out who it's going to be. So I did.
Yeah.
And I spent 18 years in Scouts between the two boys.
That's awesome.
And I got to tell you, I had a blast.
Yeah.
Absolutely blast. Did all kinds of crazy stuff. I gained skills, your Boy Scout skills, knots and ropes and all that sort of stuff, outdoor cooking. We were actually over at Edge's house the other night watching the Georgia game. God bless them. But they had a fire pit, right? They just had it installed, and so it's made to burn wood, no fancy lighter or whatnot. And so they had wet wood, and they're trying to light this fire. And I go out there, and I said, "You know what to do?" "No." I said, "Trust me, this is gonna sound screwy. Don't think anything weird about it, but if you have these things, bring me all your dryer lint, bring me a paper towel, and if you got a jar of Vaseline, bring that too."
That's so funny, because the dad brought Vaseline and some other, it wasn't lint, it was like a something. And I was like, what in the heck is about to happen here? And he starts pulling this Vaseline out and putting it on the ground, and having the kids like,
oh, yeah.
And I was like, holy cow, and they're all starting their own fires, and I'm like little bitty from just rocks and stuff. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah, it's crazy. Awesome. It's crazy, the stuff that I learned. But I can't tell you how many times I saw adults and then older scouts instruct younger scouts and learn how to talk to people because of the scouting program, and how to teach people how to do things. The scout skills are awesome. I learned a lot of stuff in it that I use ropes and all that, tying stuff up in the back of the truck or a trailer or other places. But just the things that the kids learn going through, and how to deal with adults doing those Eagle projects. learn how to deal with volunteers because you know what that means.
Yeah.
But then how to teach youngers how to do a thing. And I remember sitting on the night that my son Michael was doing a board of review. I don't remember if it was a practice board for his Eagle Scout board of review or what have you. But we had been to one of the high adventure camps. We had been to the winter camp up in Minnesota. So we camped out on a frozen lake, below zero and all that. And so this guy is getting all these experiences out of my son. He's talking about all the things he's done through scouting. He said, I want to tell you something, son. When you go to a job interview and someone asks you a question like, why should I hire you? Why would I trust you with this position and such? He said, this is what you say, though. I said, sir, I just want you to understand, I'm a Boy Scout. I went camping at winter camp. We spent 4 nights out camping on a frozen lake. We built our own huts. I didn't leave. I stayed. It was below zero. We got a patch because it was below zero. Was I cold? Yeah, probably. But I learned skills. I stayed with my team. We got the thing done. Yeah. I'll do the same thing here. Yeah. I was just like blown away. Yeah. That.
It is awesome. Like I'm going to do a whole podcast on just scouting because I don't know that people, it is a bit of involvement. I think some people think it's too much. Like they can't do it all. They don't realize that you do have the ability to pick and choose.
Of course.
It's not we have meetings every Monday night. Yeah. You don't have to come every Monday night. Right. We have kids that play baseball and they don't ever come on Monday nights.
Right.
You get out of scouts whatever you want.
Right.
So whether you just want to go to learn knots and to go to camp outs and some leadership skills, great. That's all. If that's all you want, that's all you get. If you want to work towards Eagle and learn traffic patterns and just all the different things that it teaches you, Max is going to winter camp, and Max is a straight A student, super smart.
Right.
I assume he'll follow the path of college and education, but he's doing a 2-hour welding class every day at camp.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's something he probably never would have tried or had the experience. But for me, as a dad, I have none of these skills. And I would love to have some of these things. So I
thought about signing up for that welding merit badge when I was going through with the kids. I'm like, will they let me do that?
Hey, well, the good thing about most of the ones here is we can go to any of them.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think we actually get a badge because I've gotten mad about that before.
Yeah.
But some of them you do. So I've gotten certified for life savings, for wilderness. So I've gotten a few, but I can also sit in any of those classes for go and shoot shotguns. And we're not a gun family. I have a pistol,
right?
But it's so packed away.
Right.
I'm just not comfortable with guns. But I love that Max can go and learn how to shoot a rifle, a shotgun, and a bow and arrow.
Yep.
He can learn those things.
Lots of fun stuff, lots of practical stuff, too.
That's incredible. All right, give me a memory. What is just one memory to end on from Scouts with your kids? Whether it was a camp out, it could be funny or sentimental or eagling out. I don't know. What's your best memory that you're like, I would do that again every day for the rest of my life if I could recreate that memory? For me, there are so many. This is a hard question now that I say it out loud. I'm like,
so I mentioned the winter camp. In that year, we did the math. We had gone to 2 high adventure camps. We had the good fortune to be able to do that. We had been to Sea Base down in the Florida Keys, and then we had been to Northern Tier for their winter camp. And we calculated it. We actually camped at 110-degree range.
I don't know what that means.
So the temperature span was
the range and the temperature. Okay, I'm like trying to do latitude, longitude. Okay.
We went from right around 90 to right around 10 below.
It wasn't back to back. That was what? Winter and the summer. No. Same calendar year.
Yeah, same calendar year.
Okay.
110 degrees, and
So we're doing Northern Tier next or this coming summer. But we're doing it in the summer.
Yeah, so you'll be slapping all the mosquitoes. No mosquitoes in the winter, y'all.
I am dreading it because I'm in the Facebook group that talks about everything you should do, and they're all like, make sure you have a head mask. Like you have to be covered. the whole time. And I'm
Yep.
like, that sounds miserable.
Yep. I remember talking to a guy that had just been to that camp with his son and with the troop. And he said, yep, he said, I want you to know about hatching. You think you know what it means, but you don't have no idea what it means. Because every night, they're not going to bother you so much on the day when you're on the river and you're moving. But at night, when the sun goes down, they hatch. And you look like a big, juicy porterhouse steak to those dudes, and they are coming for you. And he said, so you put up your tent as fast as you can, you get in there, and then you slap skeeters until they're gone.
Wow. So we're doing Philmont the next summer.
Awesome.
And that, I know they've said that you can't wear deodorant. Mm-mm. You can even scentless deodorant still has a scent to bears. Mm-hmm. And so in Philmont, they're talking about no deodorant, no bug spray. You cannot. Yeah,
because you'll smell delicious.
Yes. And I just thought of that when you said that. Is Northern Tier, is it the same for that? Because the bugs are going to bother me.
Yeah, there was no bugs, no danger.
But you went in the winter, though.
We went in the winter.
I'm going to be in the middle of summer. We're going in July.
The big thing was you were going to be in that cold environment, and you were going to need to change out of clothes into other clothes, because even at night when you're sleeping, you sweat.
Yeah.
And so the first thing that you did in the morning was change your clothes, and that was kind of very refreshing.
Yeah, I bet.
But just the whole experience, the buddies that I made, the kids made buddies, I made buddies. Just the other day, Scoutmaster was sending out a group text to all of us talking about he had been to this thing at his church, and they were making mandarin orange cobbler in Dutch ovens to serve at a church event. That he was there, and he was helping the troop that it was at the church that he goes to now. And so they're having some sort of big barbecue homecoming event. And so that was the thing, and it drummed up all the memories. And and so making monkey bread and all kinds of fun desserts. Teaching kids how to cook. Actually, you talk about a story.
This is big. They cook all the time.
They do.
Every camp out, all the kids do all the cooking.
Yeah.
I love that.
So how we got there, we went, when you're in Cubs, you go check out a few different troops if you're doing it right, and figuring out if you fit that troop, if they fit you and such. And so I'm talking to my kid after that first visit, and so I said to him, so what'd you think? He said, well, it's all right. He said, breakfast was pretty bad. He says, I got a raw pancake and some burnt bacon. I said, so what do you think you ought to do? He says, I think I'm going to take the cooking merit badge and learn how to cook. And that kid is 30 years old now and amazing in the kitchen. Just crazy stuff. I mean, was making
efficiency, cooking, everything. I love it. They have to think about, they have to clean those pans as well. So
right.
Do they really need to use 40 dishes to make a meal? So. I love it.
All those skills.
Well, I have to say, you and your wife just do an amazing job at functions. When I walk into a room and I see y'all, you're the most welcoming, smiles. I absolutely love seeing y'all at those events.
Thank you.
And you do a fantastic job. So I appreciate it, because we always don't feel like going to those events. And when you see other people with big smiles,
right,
welcoming, it's nice. So
thank you.
I appreciate you joining me too.
Yeah, we got plenty more to talk about. We'll look for part 2.
Yes, definitely. I've got a couple
talk
pages.
about real estate or loans or any of that.
I don't know if that's possible.
Probably
not.
Possible.
So,
hey,
all right.
Enjoy tea time with you, man.
Yes.
Cheers.
Are you having a David day?